What's up, YouTube? This is Chris here. I know a lot of you guys have been giving comments and been asking me about my covers of certain songs, John Mayer songs, Slow Dancing and Burning Room being the main one. I've had a lot of people ask me if I could do a tutorial on it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of shoot myself in the foot a little bit. I know the videos that you've seen, I promise you, I can play them a lot better. I get a little camera shy, to be honest with you. I'll go ahead and admit that, but I'll show you a tutorial here. I wanted to go through Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, and for those of you that are out there that are struggling with it a little bit, that are having problems, maybe trying to figure out what I'm doing on certain parts, I'll show you what I do. And like I said, it may not be what John does on his version, but I assure you that sometimes I look up tabs for things, and sometimes I see what an artist does whenever they're making a song. And it seems to me like when I try to play that, I don't get the tone. I don't get those certain notes and have that feeling. So what I've done is taken the tabs I've found from them and what they're doing, and then tried it in maybe a little higher up on the neck or lower on the neck or a different chord shape or whatever, and then implemented that to where it has more of a direct tone. Now, I've had some questions about my setup and things like that. I'll go ahead and tell you, we're going to just use a real rudimentary setup on this right here. This is my normal rig, as you can see, my pedal rig here. It's pretty various, or it varies a lot, and I mean, I've got, you'll see, like I've got a couple of blues drivers. One of them is a Keeley modded blues driver, this one right here, with the fat mod. I've got an Octavio, small stone phaser, vibro thing, vibrato. This here's just a switchblade pedal that I just happen to have laying around. It's an actual vintage 70s switchblade pedal. Boss heavy metal, probably vintage late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, at least the early 80s. And just a standard blues driver. That's a switcher for a old PV amp that I've got. Compression sustainer, TS7 tube screamer, which is a really cheap tube screamer, but it's actually a really good one. That's just my foot switch from a Marshall. I have a JCM2000 TSL. I'll show it here in a second. But it's got the 3-channel foot switch, clean, crunch, and lead, reverb, and an effects loop. I never run anything through the effects loop. I feel that you kind of lose a lot of your character from your effects pedals. And of course a Vox, or not a Vox, but a Dunlop Crybaby wah pedal. I'm looking to replace it with a Vox, is the reason I say that. Guitar-wise, I've got, you know, as you can see, a couple of different guitars laying around here. Gold top Les Paul. My Relic Strat, I've got some questions on this. This is actually, it is not a Fender Strat. I kind of got duped a little bit. I thought it was a real Fender when I bought it. And upon further investigation, it was either a Warmoth or some kind of a makeshift version or whatever. But anyway, and then I've got my Paul Reed Smith. It's a copy. It's made by Samick. It is not a real Paul Reed Smith, but you would be hard-pressed to find a difference. I've played real Paul Reed Smiths. It looks like one. I mean, the pickups I have in it are DiMarzio Super Distortions, but, I mean, it sounds and plays amazing, and it's got all the looks and everything, so why spend $3,000 on a McCarty when you can spend $400 on one of these things? I mean, it's got, you know, it's got the abalone binding and all that good stuff. I mean, you would fool most people. But the main guitar we're going to use, of course, is the John Mayer Strat. Now, I bought this guitar probably, let's see, 2009 is when I'd purchased it. I bought it new at a local music store right before the price jumped up real crazy, and that's what I'll be using today. But, and of course, like I said, my amps, normally my amp of choice has been this Fender 4x10 Blues DeVille for most of my videos. But we're going to roll with my Marshall JCM2000. I've really been favoring this one lately. I've had it for several years, and it had been tore up for some time, and I finally shelled out the cash to get it fixed. And since I've had it fixed, it really has a lot better tone and sound. Mine's the JCM2000, like I said, and it's triple super lead. It's the 100-watt version, 3-channel, of course, reverb, and, you know, pretty much any kind of parameter to any effect that you, or any channel that you want, you got. And I'm just running it. It looks like a piece of garbage cabinet, but it's actually got 2 Celestion greenbacks and insulated in the back and everything, so it's a good cab. That just come along with the amp head. But without further ado, we'll get started here. Set the camera down here and get situated. And we'll start off. Crank my guitar up here. I'll start off with the intro, of course. This guitar is tuned standard tuning. Get a little bit closer where you can see the neck here, what I'm doing. It's going to be in standard tuning. Pickups, I normally keep it combining the middle and the neck pickup. Either that or full-on neck. I very rarely go down to the bridge pickup unless I'm just playing a little bit more rock stuff. I've got this amp set up to where I can do that, and these John Mayer Big Dipper pickups can really allow you to do that. But we're going to go up here, and to start it off, of course you're going to start off in a C sharp minor. Go ahead and kick the power down a little bit so it's not going to run out the camera. Okay, we're in tune. But you're going to start off C sharp minor, and the intro line, the famous slow dancing intro line, is going to go like this. So see what I'm doing there? And you're going to loop your thumb over the top. That's how I play it anyway. That's how John plays it from what I understand. So you... Alright, moving on from there, you're going to have this intro line. That's a little tricky. I don't normally play that part a lot. That's generally if you've got a second guitar player playing along with you is when you'll do that. So you might have seen me made a few mistakes there. I rarely ever do that when I play it because I stick with the... But just simple kind of an octave, not octave, but... And then when you're ready to go into the verse, it's not a silly little moment. You can stick with straight chords there. That's what I normally do. If you're doing the intro part, like the Live in LA part, where he does a lot of little intricate stuff, and you're still staying in that same mode of C sharp minor, like the... And all that is just like a bar chord. You're basically making an F shape. Leave your bottom string open. Your high E, leave it open. And then looping your thumb over. So you get that drone. Okay, so you just mess around with that, and I mean, as you're doing the intro, you can do the... There's so many things you can throw in there to make it flow, and if you're singing the song, you want to give it a little space. It's na-na. Okay, so now we're going to go to the bridge part, and we're going down part. You're going to go down here to B. Like I said, do the same chord, the chord shape. F, leave your bottom string open, let it drone, because see you're in E. So you can let that flow. And do a hammer-on right there. Loop your thumb over and get that bass note. Don't worry about this fifth string here, you can just let it roll. Just kind of mute it with your thumb here. Kind of catch C sharp minor. Back to A. C sharp minor. Then you're going to F sharp minor. And this is how I do it. Loop your thumb over the top. You're going to do your fourth and third fingers here. Pinky finger here, third finger here. Take your first finger, come down here and hit on your third string, second fret, and loop your first finger, or your thumb rather, over the top of the neck. Catch that bass note. And it sounds awesome. So you got this in the end, really. Back to the intro. Now the second verse, it picks it up a little bit. Fancy stuff in there. You can do that, or you can not do it, or I prefer to do it, because by that point when you've started off the song, you've gotten comfortable with where everything falls. Just simple pentatonic, minor, major kind of stuff. And this is a favorite trick of mine right here, is the, you know, that first part was, you know, I was the one you'd always dreamed of. I was the So you can add all that fancy stuff in there if you want to. I mean, I do and I don't. You know, it just depends on the kind of mood I'm. You know, wherever it falls, wherever your hands fall, it's what you play. That's why it's hard for me to play along with a lot of this stuff, because you can't throw everything you want in there. If you had a little bit more space to play with, I guess when you're going along with a track someone's recorded already, you really have to stick within the parameters. That's where I get into trouble, because I'm trying to follow everything, and if I was just playing it solo, like John does a lot of the time, I could space it out and you would never notice it, without having to hurry the song. So now we're gonna get to the part that everybody loves, the solo part. So we're gonna do the lead up chords, the pre-chorus or whatever you want to call it, and then we'll go into the solo. I'll show you how to do. I'll play it regular speed and then I'll slow it down. Play the solo part clean. Some people prefer to play it distorted. Me, I generally like to do is maybe kick to a crunch channel. I mean, you can do it clean or you can do it in crunch. For the intro part, but when you do the the main lead part, you really want to kick in and do it better. So here's that with some distortion now. And that's on the crunch setting. Okay, so let's do it with some more distortion now. And what I'll do is if I do heavy distortion like a lead channel, I'll kick the volume down about halfway and do the intro part. Normally run up to the neck pickup because that's when you get a little fatter sound. So you can do it whichever way. So at that part right there, you're going to go down to the "Don't Cry About It" part, or the bridge part, I guess you would call it. And for that, you're going to start off on the F sharp minor chord. Don't cry about it, what? C sharp minor. So you're going to do F sharp minor, C sharp minor, the B part, back to the F sharp minor. You're gonna do the A chord instead of the back to the C sharp or the F sharp minor. Go. And then back to the chorus. And of course, back to the intro. And then this is where your solo kicks in. So it's good to keep in a lead channel or a little bit of an overdrive channel. So you just get crazy with it right there. I mean, you can get as intimate with it as you want to. You can get in. That's if you're playing it just like if you're playing it solo by yourself. If you're playing a show and you're just you up there with the guitar, like a lot of people like to do. Because John has actually done versions of like that live. If you search hard enough for them on YouTube, you can do it. Just alternate your bass chords. But like I said, for that lead part, when you really kick in there and